Hey guys. All right. So we have another book review. I got through this. This is a thick boy. This is a chonker of a read. The Fell Sword by Miles Cameron. The second book, the sequel to The Red Knight. And as you guys know, I fucking loved The Red Knight. The Red Knight was a great book. I have it right here just so I can show it off again. This was fucking really well written, especially the ending here. The ending for book one was fantastic. I think I gave this book overall a 9 out of 10, I think is what I rated it. Well, looking back, that's how I view this book, is a 9 out of 10 overall at the end. 9 out of 10. But, that front section, this front half of the book, is pretty slow build up, but worth it at the end. Anyways, enough praise for the first book. Let's talk about the second book, which, hold on, I got to do the slap just like Daniel Green does for his book reviews. So you hear that? This is 600 pages. 600 pages for the standard paperback. The Red Knight is... Hold on, let me compare their size. I think the Red Knight is slightly bigger. No. I think they're pretty fucking equal, honestly. I think they might be the same length, or the Fell Sword felt a bit longer, which I don't think I want to say is a good thing for this, because I don't want to feel the length of the book, right? I don't really want to feel that. I mean, of course I want a book to last me a while, right? If I'm spending like $20 on a book or something, I want it to last me. Like, this took me a month to read because I don't read fast. But yeah, this one, it seems also the consensus online seems to be that this is the weakest out of the 5-book series. And I think as of right now, even though I haven't started book 3 yet, I think I'm going to have to agree, because there are things that... So one of the problems that I think this book has is that it introduces things and it doesn't solve them in this, because they're inherently not plot points that can be solved in this book, because they are plot points that are crucial to the overarching story, right? But he introduces them, and then they just kind of get left by the end. So like you're still left with like kind of unfinished plot points. Whereas here in the first book, there are things that are introduced, yes. But the way he wrote them here in the first book is we can make inferences on their answers. Like, he leaves questions there by the end of the first book. You're still left with questions on certain things, but all in all, those questions that you have, you can still make inferences with about. Like, they're not things that necessarily need to be answered. And also there are how do I want to say, I forgot my train of thought. But yeah, it is this one. This one jumps around a lot at the beginning, like in the first half of the book, maybe first three-fourths of the book, you are jumping around a lot on characters, and this one, for the first half of the book, I would say definitely the first half, I can say I was kind of getting a bit confused from time to time on like who characters were and whatnot, which does damage the book a little, even though I love his writing style. His writing style is really good. Yeah, I mean, my nose is itchy, I'm sorry. Really itchy. Oh. Ah. This is so unprofessional. But yeah, what else? I think he does a similar thing here that he did in the first book, is that slow, but then he does a good job with his endings. He's able to write his endings pretty good. However, something different here. The climax of the book feels like it happens in the last chapter. And for me, I don't like that. And I don't think it's something that you're not also really told to do with a climax. When a climax happens, you want then to have falling action at the end of it, and then you want your resolution. Here in the Red Knight, before it ended, there was a clear climax. And then the final chapter, the final 2 chapters or so, were pretty much falling action, ending book 1. This felt like this could have been a standalone. Like it didn't. This felt like it didn't need a series, right? You could have ended it here and been fine, which I think is part of the reason why book 2, and I'll explain further why book 2 might be the lowest rated of the series, even though I haven't gotten into book 3 yet, which is actually right back up there. The problem with a direct sequel in a series, world building is one of the things that I noticed. He dumps a lot of information in this book to you to expand the world for you, which I like. And he also deeply expands the magic system here. But it's a big shift from how the information was presented in this one, because this one was pretty much used, the way I look at it is Red Knight book 1 used as a way to lure people into the series and see if people are interested in the series, to see if you can make a series out of it, if it will be commercially successful. And then once Red Knight sold well, he got to work on book 2 and dumped in all that information there because he didn't want to overwhelm people in book 1. And so you get overwhelmed with that information in book 2, probably because you're going to need the information as soon as possible so that he can write what he wants in the remaining books, right? I think I explained that well enough. Which, I'm going to be honest, I think you get that a lot with books like this. I mean, it happened with The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. The Hobbit does not have, it has the world building in it, but if you look at it that way, you can see that The Hobbit is pretty limited in the world building, and then you read Lord of the Rings and it's expanded on like crazy. Fucking Council of Rivendell, pure info dump chapter. I'm sorry, that's what it is. And same right up there with George R.R. Martin's. I think I have book 2 as my least favorite of the current 5 main books that are out in his series. I think that's because book 2 always will provide more info dump in a series that you're wanting to do, because first you want book 1 to be available for a wide grouping of people. You want more people to read book 1 to get into it. That way then they're more willing to suffer the info dump because they liked book 1, so they're willing to suffer the info dump of book 2 to continue the series, right? That's how I look at it, and like it's understandable. However, because it was like that, it does knock down book 2, even though I understand why it had to be done from my inferences. His writing style is good. He knows his shit. He knows his history. He knows how fighting works. I love his characters. I love there were a couple lines here, but it didn't happen until like the end, where there were lines where I was laughing out loud. There was one really fucking good line in the last, I think, 3 chapters. Yeah, there was a really good line in the last like 3 chapters, and it's really funny. But I don't know if I want to say it because it might be a spoiler. But it's a really funny line that I loved, but it also like fit the character. Like it didn't feel out of place. And when an author can put a funny line at points where the climax is coming, that to me tells me he's a talented writer, and I like it. Like if you can mix comedy in at the right moment, as like a serious things are happening, that's pretty good. That means you know your writing style and you know what you're doing. Overall, though, I think I'm gonna be honest, this book I think I might have to give it a 6 out of 10 because the magic system was deeply expanded on and it was kind of confusing for me. I was pretty confused, honestly, throughout a lot of the book. Um, I mean, I think it might be closer to a 7 just because I really love his writing style. And I like the Red Knight. Like, I like the main character that is in, like, the main character, the Red Knight, the guy we follow. I like him. So maybe it's closer to a 7. But I'm going to say 6 out of 10 just because kind of was a bit confused on how like just how he expanded the magic system. Like, I kind of got a grasp of it now that the book is over. Now that I finished reading the book, I kind of have a better understanding of it, but it felt pretty complicated, and I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of complicated magic systems. I'm kind of very simple-minded with my magic. So, that's my personal taste. If you like really complicated magic systems, you're going to fucking love this one. But yeah, so that's all I have to say. 6 out of 10 for the Fell Sword. Still a good book. I would recommend it if you are interested in a historian writing a epic fantasy series. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more. And I will see you guys in the next video. Expect book 3 to be reviewed in probably a month because it's also a thick boy. Peace.